Good evening. My name is Rosário Salema de Carvalho. I'm the coordinator of the Azulejo Research Network, which is part of ARTIS, the Institute of Art History of the University of Lisbon. I'll be hosting this session together with my colleague, Rafaela Xavier. Rafaela, where are you?
Hello. Hi.
On behalf of my research group and our partner, the National Azulejo Museum, I'd like to welcome you all this evening for a new AzLab. Today, our invited speakers are Eva Brunner and Alexander Amir, founders of the project Talking.Tiles and the organizers of the Tile Festival 22. Thank you so much, Eva and Alex, for having accepted our invitation. You have joined us before at the end of AzLab 76 to promote the Tile Festival, but today you are entitled to a whole session. You are also be speaking about the festival, but the aim today is to present the project Talking.Tiles and a few related activities. I'll start with an introduction, a brief introduction we'll get to know both of you and your work during the session. Eva and Alex are surface designers specialized on textile materials and creating repetitive patterns, not only on textiles, but also on a wide variety of surfaces and materials. We are very happy to have you. So please join me in welcoming Eva and Alex.
Thank you very much, Rosario and everyone from the AzLab. Thank you very much for the invitation, and we are very happy to be part of this session and as well to exchange and present our project. So my name is Eva Brunner. I'm from Switzerland, like Alex as well. And I think right now he will present himself. And we created and started the project Talking.Tiles together. We get to know each other during our studies for textile design. We studied together in Switzerland, where we learned a lot about patterns and a lot about textile materials. As well in our studies, the pattern itself was always a big part. Like you already said, we create patterns as well for other materials. And we started together this project, and I will give the word to Alex.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and we are really happy to be here and presenting our project Talking.Tiles. Some small words to me. I'm like, as Eva, we were in the same class, we studied together, and therefore we actually work together now. So, which is great that we kind of found each other in this project again. I'm currently working on different materials. I'm in Mexico at the moment and studying the use of latex in artisanal work. So I do work with different kind of surfaces and also patterns. And related to that, we're going to introduce now some little bit more about Talking.Tiles, our project.
I will share my screen now, so you can have a look to our presentation.
Talking.Tiles. Talking.Tiles was kind of the idea for it was coming up when we were in Portugal in 2020. And if I was there before, for me, it was the first time in Lisbon, and I only saw Lisbon, but like still it's beautiful. And we came up with the idea that these patterns are really distinct for this place. So we kind of questioned if there are no other distinctive patterns for places. And we thought about like, it would be great to create a platform where different people from different kind of artistic work, research, architects, whatever, people which are interested in ceramics in general, come together and make a fusion out of their thoughts, out of their kind of, places they come from. And actually this is what Talking.Tiles is. There's this a fusion of different kind of patterns from all over the world, which in the end indicate the origin. And as we are working with surfaces in general, ceramics are a really interesting medium where you have something more durable than, for instance, textiles or organic materials in general. So they survive a pretty long time and are indicators of the history of techniques, are indicator of craft, how elaborated civilizations were. And also, like nowadays, ceramics for interiors or exteriors are a big theme which people still enjoy and love. And actually this is what we are trying to spread, the awareness for this medium, and also like bring together the people so that the islands can get together to a continent. Yes, so these are we two. We are both from Switzerland and we were working in different fields, but what combines our love is the love for tiles and the medium of ceramics. So in general, we work with colors and designs. As you can see, we get our inspirations from the places where we are traveling. As far we are trying to create an archive from different kind of places where we've been. So we have Turkey, we have Portugal, we have a little bit of France, we have something from Switzerland, we have some things from Mexico, and a part of is also from Egypt. So altogether, they're creating a kind of how you can say that, like a motif archive of different kind of tiles which were used in different kind of regions. But also what's interesting in it is how these kind of traveled along the routes of maybe the Silk Road or other kind of connections which were established in the ancient time. So it's interesting how these patterns can be found in different places in the world, as well as they are a huge inspiration for other artists. And we love to play with new things. We love to get inspired, and we are collaborating from time to time with other people. We are collaborating with companies or designers, or working on small projects by our own. So in general, like patterns are a big topic to talk about, because there can be found various different forms of it. And sometimes they have like, or most of the time, they also have symbolic significance in the meaning of the pattern. So analyzing that and working with this data we get from the surfaces is a really interesting work, because especially when you're doing close-ups and analyzing how the pattern works, this is what we are doing, and trying to bring that joy also to other people, to understand how repetition is working, how patterns in general are working. Because I think it's not a big magic. There are like patterns which are really elaborate, but like the point of having the tile as one repetition or one repetition unit, which is in most of the cases, the case. So is a really interesting way to spread a pattern over a big surface, same as we would do that with textiles. So here we see an example of Lisbon, where you have a zigzag pattern in a green and a brown, a cafe and a yellow. And now we can speculate what this means. And the interesting dialogue between the different parties is to find out maybe what it means, but also to catalog it or to kind of having an inspiration or an idea what kind of tiles are in the different places in the world.
I will try. It's connected to an animation. I will try if it works, that you can see it. I think I have to change which screen I'm sharing.
So what we're doing actually to kind of get the attention of the nowadays social media watching people is trying to make some flashy animations, because this is something which is really enhancing the properties of the tiles in general, like also the understanding of how you can create a pattern, and actually also to see the simplicity behind it, and that it's sometimes not even that hard or that kind of the magic to do a pattern, but they are like distinctive like puzzle pieces which come together to create this kind of patterns.
And it's also a way to treat the tiles in a beautiful and funny as well, and way to have a different look at the steady pattern, which is normally the case with tiles. They don't move, they are fixed on a wall or on a different place on a building. And with the animations, we give them some life, we give them a movement.
There is also the part where some of these patterns tell a story, and when you start to animate them or give them a new movement, they really come to life and are kind of speaking to you anyway when they're still, but when they're like moving, there is another kind of layer where you can experience that pattern in a new kind of way, in like moving together, coming together, shaking the leaves of a Ottoman tile, for instance, or like letting them speak in another way. So what we also do, which I would like to enhance first, that this historical or cultural research is not kind of accompanied by a faculty. It's like our work which we are doing out of passion and out of the interest of understanding how these patterns work and how they relate to each other. So the historical and cultural research we are doing is actually tracing back from where maybe the colors, maybe the techniques, maybe the patterns derive from. And what we so far found out is that there are huge connections between, for instance, the motifs you see with the Islamic geometry inspired in Portugal, which can relate back to the Spanish, or you can relate it back to other places in the Middle East. It's across culture, but also across religious research. Especially here, you can see some examples in the big, like the stars with the yellow and azul petals. these are tiles which are in Cairo, and the interesting part there is that you can find also some with these techniques or these motifs across North Africa, for instance, Tunisia, but also in Istanbul. So not only the patterns, but also the craft traveled. And therefore, this kind of intercultural exchange of patterns and techniques is a really important part of our work. The other things we are working with is, for instance, as I told before, with different kind of producers. There is a big variety of kind of traditional companies which work with old techniques in a semi-industrial way. Oftentimes they're having also a part where everything is made manually by hand, which is also interesting to see and to work together with them to accomplish new ideas, to see how they are made, which kind of materials they're using, how you also could interfere in this process to create new things. You can see on the left side, this is a picture from Mosaicos Oaxaca, which is a company in Oaxaca City in Mexico, where Eva was trying out different kind of probes of cement tiles using natural pigments. So the point of also experimenting with already there techniques is also something which we as also designers love to elaborate or to work with and see what kind of craft is behind the tiles which we see on the different facades or in the different rooms or interiors nowadays and long gone.
So I will start to talk about the Tile Festival 22 that we organized the first time this year, and it was a festival with the topic of tiles and tiles around the world as well. And it was the festival was during 1 month, the month of June, where we organized different events and as well different at different places. So we had two main cities or where we organized the festival physically. We had two expositions, one in Switzerland and one in Mexico. It was a beautiful combination of two countries, but with a very, very big distance in between, but with the same idea and the same structure. We had the events that were talks and presentations. We had workshops, and those events also were accessible online. So people from different places on the world could be part of the Tile Festival, and that was our goal. Our goal was to organize events that can be joined from different places and connect people from different places, which is as well the idea of Talking.Tiles in general. And with the festival, we were able to do this in a very direct way during 1 month. So first, I will talk a bit what happened in Mexico. I was in Oaxaca. It is a city in the south of Mexico. It's a small city. It's not that big, and there are a lot of crafts in this state of Mexico. So it's a big topic: crafts and arts. We organized the festival at a place, it's called Casa Bestia, where we had a very beautiful location to present our exposition, and as well at this place all the events in Oaxaca took place. in the rooms of Casa Bestia, we were able to organize the exhibition where we combined different works about tiles. So we had a tile producer, Mosaicos Oaxaca. We had the work from Escuela de Muralismo, which I will explain a little bit more later. And we were able to welcome a lot of people at this place. It was very beautiful to see how different types of tiles come together, and as well different types of people come together. It was a very diverse mix of people who knew something about tiles and also people who had no idea about this medium. So Mosaicos Oaxaca was one participator in Oaxaca. They are tile producers. They produce cement tiles since 3 generations. So they are one of the most important tile producers in Mexico. They were part of the exhibition, and as well they were presenting their work in a presentation. And we were able to go to their the producing place where they produce the tiles, and people were welcomed there during one day, like an open house. Here you can see some photos of the workshop. Another part of the festival in Mexico was the work of Jesus González Gutiérrez. He is the founder of the Escuela de Muralismo de Oaxaca, which is a school for mural painting and as well the technique of the fresco. It is, in the first moment, maybe doesn't have so much to do with the azulejos or the tiles, but he started to make a type of panels. Those panels are made out of sand, limestone, and coconut fiber. And those materials are combined and dried, and at the end you have a panel, a kind of a tile, which doesn't need the part of the firing. And on this tile you can paint the fresco. So during my stay in Oaxaca, I was able to do this collaboration with Jesus, and we made some of these panels together, which were part of the exhibition, and he also presented his work in the presentation. In the same group, there was the artist Shannon Bouard. She's from France, and she was in Mexico as well for a while, and I got to know her there. And she was learning the same technique of the fresco. And she also made a stay in Mexico City, where she learned from an artist who works with mosaicos, and she made a work there and was able to present it as well in form of a presentation. There were different workshops as well in Oaxaca. There was one that we organized with Abraham Arana. He's a graphic designer from Mexico, and we were able to organize a workshop which was on paper, but it worked with the topic of the repetition of patterns, which is very an important topic of the tiles. So the participants learned how a pattern can be repeated, and they used different techniques, and it was during one afternoon. Kids and grown-ups, it was a beautiful mixture of people. Another workshop that we organized was with Carlos Dominguez at Casa Bestia. He's one of the founders of the place, and he's working with silkscreen printing as well as me as well. And we organized together the workshop where people could print their design on a tile. So first they were able to draw their patterns, elaborate the design, and after that they printed it on ceramic tiles. Another part of the exhibition in Oaxaca was the work Mexico Meets the World, which was a photo work about tiles from Oaxaca and Mexico compared with tiles from other places in the world. So the tiles that are in Mexico have a big influence from Europe. Well, because they were brought with the colonization of Spain, and it's very beautiful to see the connections between the forms, the colors, and different parts of the tiles. But as well, which was very interesting, there were big connections between tiles from Switzerland as well, or Turkey. So the work wanted to show in the exhibition in Oaxaca the combination of the different cultures, the different regions, and how they are similar. And it was shown in form of this photo work.
The same, but not the same, happened in Lucerne. Lucerne is a small city in Switzerland, and we had the opportunity to exhibit and hold the festival in the Galeria Ahoy. It's a small space in the old city in Lucerne, but a beautiful space and perfect for our first tile festival. In general, the idea was more or less similar. There were more talks in Switzerland, although we had a workshop with ceramic mistress. She is one of the last in Switzerland, so there is not really much of heritage left, but depending on how you look and how you were searching, we found in the end somebody which is perfectly suited for our festival. So this is the view of the place. Inside there were presentations hold, or there were also like exhibited projects which we were doing, Eva and me, during our time together working on Talking.Tiles. There was also the big screen, the big white screen where the presentations were held, and it was possible to join for a small group of people also inside of the gallery. Here you see part of the exhibition. There were various things. We had several evenings, once in the week, like 4 times in complete, where people were allowed or like to enter the space, and we could talk, we could have exchange. There were different kind of disciplines in the gallery to visit us. There were architects, there were also like people from the school, there were different people from the city and from Switzerland in general. We were really happy that we also could brought like a part of international audience into this space, which we were doing by holding presentations from different contributors from all over the world. So one of our first presentations was a talk with Singapore Tiles. Jennifer Lim started after knowing that her grandfather was buried in this cemetery in Singapore, actually exploring this place more and more. And as she had a passion for tiles, she figured out that actually more or less all of the graves of this graveyard in Singapore, which is not existing anymore because the Singapore government built a huge kind of road through this cemetery. So she was actually one of the first persons which documented the tiles of the cemetery there, and one of the last which saw them in this way. So it's a really important work, and also another example of vanishing art and culture, which is correlated with tiles in general. So these tiles had influence from different spaces from all over the world. There were tiles from Germany, there were tiles from France, from even Scotland. where we have our next participant, where we could find out that also tiles of Scotland were actually used in the cemetery in Singapore. So our second talk in this evening was the talk with Talking.Tiles, and Talking.Tiles with Lisanne Fee as the head is actually an online archive of Scottish tenement tiles. Tenement tiles are like, tenements are kind of working houses which were built like around in Glasgow and different places in Scotland. But what all of them have in common is the joyful play of colorful tiles, which were produced in these regions. And Lisanne Fee is with her fully heart there for documenting these tiles, which are a really important part of the Scottish heritage of tiles. Up next, we have a presentation of Carvalho. Carvalho is a manufactory which is located in Austria. They are a small group of people which have a really creative mind and put together old techniques with contemporary design. So the producers use a technique which is called raku, which originates in Japan. And the mother of one of the creators was an artist and worked with this technique. As they were building a house, the sons came up with the idea using this technique also for tiles. So this was the foundation of Carvalho, and we were really happy to have them with us and explaining and showing us their techniques of printing with serigraphy on tiles, but also then using the raku technique to create different shades and different glazes and different appearances on the surfaces of the tiles. In the talk, Cairo versus Istanbul was in general about the travel of İznik tiles, which are a really important part of Turkish or Ottoman history, let's put it like that. And there were kind of the beginning of them were in the 15th century and kind of declined in the 17th century. But in this time period, Turkey was the place of tiles. Also, was really interesting to see how these tiles, through the influence of the great Ottoman Empire, reached other spots in the Levant. So they kind of traveled down all the way from Jordania, Syria, Jordania, further down to North Africa. And as I was in Cairo for some months, I encountered them on different kind of surfaces of already standing architecture. So they were actually addition during the Ottoman reign of Egypt. And interesting was to see in which places they also used the same motifs, how they changed, how the people used maybe different kind of techniques, and this was explained in this talk. One workshop we had, which we were really glad that the maestra actually joined us, was the workshop with Sabine Gülber. She is the last woman, the last maestra in Switzerland, which is having a workshop doing everything by hand, and decorating them with stencil techniques. She is working in a small atelier in Aargau, which is a really small place in Switzerland, and she provides in general workshops or also like tiles for different kind of interior projects. And as she has a huge knowledge of not only creating the body of the tile, but also of different techniques to decorate them, we invited her to the festival in Lucerne so that she can talk about and show other people which are interested in creating their own tiles, how to do this, how to achieve that, and how to talk about creating ceramics in this workshop in Lucerne. Of course, we are really happy to have a talk with As Infinitum, and we were really happy to share the place with Rosário, which presented the awesome work of As Infinitum, the pattern collection, also the way of how to access for everybody. Historical knowledge is a premium example of how you can work with heritage and convert it to contemporary uses and also to a contemporary audience. We were really happy to have you on board and having this beautiful presentation of yours, which was a deep dive into the universe of azulejos. Gracias. In the end, we had another participant from Portugal, Preservacios, which is a well-known name probably in Portugal, where you can see the colorful helpers to prevent further destruction on surfaces of azulejos. They are decorated in different colors to see, to make it visible where the tiles are lacking or is lacking of restoration. And also she used some little phrases to enhance or to bring joy to the viewers of her work. Exactly.
I would now talk a little bit about what our current projects are, or what our future plans are with our Talking.Tiles platform. And one of the biggest one and one of the most that we want to focus now is to do a tile catalog to share our archive that we have. We started to collect pictures of azulejos and different tiles like some years ago, and within the years we were able to travel quite a bit and collect tiles from different countries and different places, which is very interesting because with this archive we are really able to as well compare places, because sometimes it's surprising how the tiles are the same or how there are tendencies or how they are different. So, and now we also have a collection from Mexico, which is makes us very happy, which is it's another continent. It's very far away, and because before we were just having more Europe, later we were able to travel to Turkey, to Cairo. So it's getting bigger and bigger, our collection, and Alex and I, we are very happy to be able to collect these pictures, and we would like to share this in a type of a catalog, which we are starting to put together now, and still it is still in the process. As well, we are like Talking.Tiles, we are still working as a platform. It's very important that we want to share our knowledge, to get people together, to present work of others, to take this part as a platform. And as well, we are very happy to welcome as well people if they have questions, if they need help with something, if someone has a project and need support, if someone would like to know more about, for example, tiles in Oaxaca, or any other project, we are very happy to share our knowledge, to exchange what we know about tiles, and to support new ideas as well. And if you would like, you can always get in contact with us. And the idea is that we want to continue with this format of the Tile Festival. We are very hoping to have another one in the next year. And project like that can be presented at these festivals yes. So another big part of our platform now is this festival that we want to continue, because it's a more physical presented part, because we are right now a lot online, and with the festival we are able to as well present in a real life way. You can see on our website Talking.Tiles.org. You can see our works again from the Tile Festival if you would like to read something more about it, or if you're interested in a project in specific, you can find everything on our website. As well, you can see our works and get in touch with us, or as well on our Instagram, we have presented our work, and we will be very happy to exchange in the future.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Eva and Alex. It was a very interesting presentation, which has certainly raised many questions in the minds of our listeners. There is now time for a few questions. I can start. What are the next steps? The next steps for the festival? Do you plan to organize anything here in Lisbon or in Portugal?
For the plans for the next festival are still not very fixed. Right now I am in Switzerland and Alex is in Mexico. I will be here the next month for very sure. I'm not very sure where it will be June. Probably I will be in Switzerland still, so organizing one part in here where I am is pretty sure. Alex will be the next year, he will have work in Brazil. It is still not sure what time exactly he will be there, but that's a possibility. So to have the other part of the festival in Brazil, or he will be back in Mexico. So this is also an option. Since we are two people, it's very important that someone is at this exact place. So we can, until now, we can do the festival at two places at the same time. We would really like to be present as well in Portugal, for sure. As well, if someone has the option to present something in Portugal, we are very happy to welcome other participants, so we can extend our festival to other countries, which can be in a physical exhibition or something, an installation. All these ideas can be shared with us, and we would really like to have a part of the Tile Festival in Portugal as well, since in Portugal tiles is a big topic, and there are a lot of important works happening in Portugal.
There's a question in the chat by Lucia Marinho. On your website, why is there a chamber of horrors?
So we were thinking, like, there's a lot of tiles out there in the world, but there are also tiles which maybe it's just actually fun. We thought, like, you know, this moment where you enter a bathroom and you see tiles, and we were talking like, this is a chamber of horrors. So actually it's kind of the designers which were doing this, I don't know, like taste changes. So, but when you're sitting inside of this kind of chamber of horrors, you're kind of forced to watch these walls. So that's why we came up with the chamber of horrors.
Maybe as well, we have to say the topic of tiles in Switzerland is a little bit different than in Portugal, because it's not that present. We have tiles, but very in a like not that many. And most tiles in Switzerland are used in kitchens or bathrooms. So we had a lot of times the moment when we talked to people about our project in Switzerland, people were thinking about the tiles in bathrooms or kitchens, and most of them, or a lot of them, they are not very beautiful. So we started to have this chamber of horrors as well, to look at them in a little bit of a fun way, or to give a space as well to the ugly tiles.
The ugly tiles. See.
How can one participate in the online archive? How is it being planned? Or is it grounded in a specific database? Is there any way of coordinating your archive with our own system, Dias Infinito?
In general, we were now having this huge bulk of photographs, and the idea was to give access, or also like incorporate maybe other participants to create this archive where people can reach out and find material, but also maybe a part where they could upload or send or participate into that archive directly. Because like when you have so many parts of the world and people may be interested in participating it would be great that it is in a way like an open source database as well.
Maybe as well to your question, we do not have right now a structure, like an online structure already. We are still in the process of preparing the content. So the question of how this database will be, in which form it will be, is still open. And of course, we are as well very happy to collaborate in this sense, or as well to combine maybe archives, or to connect them in a sort of way can be an option as well.
I was talking with Iliana because there are a growing number of Instagram accounts gathering photos from Azulejo, and Alexandre Mancini is a good example from Brazil. We talked about this yesterday. So I think it would be very interesting to think about how to collaborate, or how to gather these private and institutional initiatives into a more organized and searchable archive.
Yeah, exactly. It's because we are asking a lot on our Instagram people to share their photographs with us, and it's very beautiful, the content that came together as well, just from these messages we received, and in a very beautiful way. And because everyone sees tiles, but sometimes if you're not aware of them, you're not thinking about it a lot. But we are very happy to get these messages, and it's getting like that. The catalog, it gets bigger.
Especially, I think like using the medium of social media is a great thing, because also we cannot be in every place in the world, but there are a lot of people around the world, and if of course it needs quality control, of course it needs kind of a backup, like all these things behind, but then in the end, like having all these eyes around the world which are collecting and helping to kind of achieve a kind of a bibliothèque, or let's say an archive, right, is great, because we have this option. And I think this is just a really big bulk of data which can be used to preserve the heritage of tiles in general in the world.
Yeah, it could be very, very interesting.
We have another question. Do you concentrate on tiles which represent patterns, or do you also study tiles which represent pictures or images? In Portugal, for example, tiles representing sands on the exterior walls of houses are quite common. Are these tiles part of your field of study?
Yes, of course, it is also part of our study. We are seeing a lot of tiles with like people or animals or more figurative symbols, and they are definitely part of it. But I think in these cases, it happens a lot that we are searching someone who can help us as well with this part, because I think it's very important to have the knowledge of someone who is from this place, because, for example, if we are going to Portugal and see the facades of the churches, yeah, maybe we have some knowledge about the Catholic religion, but we are not from there. So in these cases, we are looking for someone who can help us with these contents. It happened to us, for example, in Mexico, it happened a lot because there is the Catholic religion, but also there's a lot of works from the Aztecs, from the Mayas, and these knowledges we don't have. So when it comes to these tiles, as well with pattern tiles, it happens that we need someone from this exact place to help us with the content.
And I think to add to this is like, especially this is what also the meaning of Talking.Tiles is, like collaborating and different kind of levels with different kind of people. And especially when we are in a country, it's great and important to work together with people which are local there and which their heritage, they can explain their heritage. And this is, I think, really important to see and to collaborate with the people which are actually from the place, because they know it the best.
Thank you again, Eva and Alex, for this amazing evening. And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you too.
Bye-bye. Thank you.